Yay. That's right. Perfect. It's 11:11. Hey, everyone. My name is Lauren Sterricione. I am a personal trainer, a transformational life coach, and energy healer. And in this live stream, I'm going to be sharing with you what you need to do, what you need to eat to get smoke show hot. So I've got another camera up for Facebook and Zoom so that this can go into the podcast and YouTube. Hello, Marie. So I'm really excited to share this with you. And I just had a really interesting conversation with one of my support members. So he is from India, and I asked him what his perspective is on being human. And he said, "You mean the soul having a human experience?" And I said, "Yes, that's exactly what I mean." And I said, "Let me show you what I made." So this is a Merkaba. Okay, so I'm just sharing this with you because I love it when people's faces light up when I share with them about energy. And so this was just a conversation that just happened. So this is a Merkaba, and the upside down triangle is feminine energy. It's actually more of a pyramid, and the right side up pyramid or triangle is the masculine energy. And this is what surrounds your physical body in the light. This is the non-physical aspect of yourself. And when this spins correctly, when the energy is flowing correctly and smoothly, then you can actually traverse the transits more easily because you're able to interpret the energy better. So what I've been working on the last 4 years is really trying to figure out, like, how do I explain energy work and how do I put it into the tangible practice of eating and exercise? Well, yesterday I printed out 4 of these little images that I made and take them together because energy is not linear. It's not two-dimensional that you can see on paper. It is a perspective that's expansive like a sphere. So you want to really start to think about your energy as a sphere of energy. And the center of it is more of there's a center point of an energy center between your heart chakra and between your solar plexus. And this is something that's not like a widely known fact about the energy system. We mostly just think about the heart chakra if we're thinking about anything in this area. But my point is that I'm going to be explaining this and breaking this down in the fat life from the energetic perspective, because the more that we can understand that life is about experiencing emotion, and it is our experience, which is emotion, around a thing or because of a thing. And the more we can understand that about energy and emotion, then the more that we can move forward with our body goals, make our body really healthy, and get it into the aesthetic that we like. Okay, so let's jump into this really quickly. So I have just 4 things basically to share with you about this. And a lot of times women think that the more that we're strict with our diet, if we're like going to start on Monday and be really hardcore about it, then like this is going to be the time that we're going to manage it. We're going to have the willpower to do it. And if you're like me, you may have discovered that sometimes at the beginning of your menstrual cycle or the end of your menstrual cycle, when your hormones are starting to change and you're ready to birth something new or grow into something new, that's when we really have like a strong mindset where we're like, I'm going to do it this time. And then of course the cravings get us when we PMS. So I'm just sharing this with you because I want you to start to really observe what's going on in your body with what it's craving, even at different times of the month. So the overall gist of it, though, is that most women think that the harder we work, the better results we're going to get. And that if we just need to tap into our willpower and follow through, then we're going to be able to get this dream body. But that's not how the body works. That's not how your physical body works physiologically. And then that's not how it works for your emotions. So what I want to share with you is that how you're going to get smoke show hot is by doing just 3 food habits or like food products, items, or food behaviors every single day. These 3 things, and this is all going to be in the comments of this, so you don't have to worry about taking notes or anything, because I'm literally giving you a training here for free as if you were my client. So there are 3 things that you have to do every single day to move your dial forward in the direction of your dream body. So that means that there are 3 food things that you're going to eat or food behaviors that you're going to do every single day. And they have just 3 rules. They have to be effortless. That means you cannot spend a lot of time thinking about them. And they have to be enjoyable. You actually have to like what you are eating. And then they have to be effective for your goals. And these can change. In my energy type is a manifesting generator. A manifesting generator can be diagnosed as someone with ADHD. It doesn't matter what the label is. It matters what your personality is. So if you get bored of things very easily and you need to have a lot of stimulus to stay creative and stay into an energetic space instead of the mundane and the boredom, these three things that you're going to be eating, your daily nutritional commitments, they might change. Mine have changed periodically as I've been implementing these habits for myself. So currently right now, one of my eating behaviors is I have a meal replacement shake with extra protein. This makes sure that I have all the vitamins and nutrients that I need, plus I'm adding in the extra protein to make sure, you can't see it, that makes sure that I can build my muscles with everything that I'm doing in the gym. We have to eat if you want to grow muscle. Growing your muscle is what gives you the desired shape that you're after. Cutting calories does not give you shape. Strengthening your muscles is what gives you that aesthetic that you have in your fantasy. So my DNC is having that meal replacement shake with extra protein. I drink half a gallon to a gallon of water a day, and I never drink out of the gallon. I pour it into another cup. And then I also have chocolate every single day. And usually at night when I'm unwinding and watching TV, then I have like an apple and banana and trail mix, or I'm going to have some ice cream, or I'm going to have some cookie dough. Like, I am eating junk food every single day in small amounts. And here's the thing. A lot of women are resistant to this because we have in our head that these are all of our bad foods and we shouldn't eat them because we're bad. Well, newsflash, the only reason why we have bad foods is because we're actually projecting our inner child emotions onto the food. So the food is now becoming the mirror for how we actually feel deep inside, which is why it's so hard to be able to get your body where you want it. Like, I remember back in the day, like in my 20s, when I would listen to people talk about how frustrating it was to go out with a friend who seemed to eat everything. She could eat a burger and she could eat dessert and she was always lean. And the person sitting next to her was like always on a diet and technically overweight. And she was more fat than muscular. So by ratio, she was a fatter person, even maybe if they were the same size on the exterior. And it's so frustrating when we have friends like that who can eat whatever they want. But when you talk to a friend who can eat whatever they want, me being that friend of yours at this point, it's like they're not concerned about their body. They're not concerned about their food. They allow themselves to eat whatever it is that they want. They don't make a big deal out of it. And the only way they're able to do that is because they're not having a bunch of emotional turmoil from unprocessed emotions from their childhood. When you want to get your body in the shape that you want, you have to just do these three things. Because here's where the psychological aspect comes into it. We have to make so many decisions during the day just to live, just to operate. So if we have a busy schedule Monday through Friday, maybe we have siblings, maybe we have parents that we're taking care of, maybe you have a big career, whatever it is, you have to make all these decisions to keep all of that humming along, right? So then if you're going to add on extreme dieting, where you are constantly thinking about how many calories you're eating, constantly thinking about how many macros you're getting, constantly thinking about all the food that you're going to eat when you get to your goal weight, constantly thinking about all the food that you can't eat because it's going to prevent you from getting to your goal weight, that is called decision fatigue. So then by the end of the day, at night, when your brain actually has some time to breathe, maybe, maybe not, but at night you start to eat, because there's only so much that your brain can do. There's only so much stress that you can handle. So a lot of times, if we have a really big life with a lot of responsibilities and a lot of decisions to make and a lot of information to process, then the thing that goes away as part of the release is usually the food, because the food at that point in the landscape of your inner world, the food is going to become the thing to give you the most stress relief. So we don't want to have a bunch of rules around our dieting. So that's why when we stick to just 3 habits, it's going to make it easier for us over the long term. So I really want you to think about this. If you spent 3 weeks dieting really hard, where you're killing it, okay? Like in 3 weeks' time, you lost 7 pounds, and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Well, if PMS kicks in, or if stress kicks in, or if somebody invites you out to a restaurant that you really love, and in your head, you're like, oh, I can afford to eat this because I've already lost all of this weight. I am this new version of myself. Therefore, I can eat whatever it is that I want. It's our brain playing tricks on us. So then we end up eating all of the food that we said was bad, right? But now, because we're in this different mind, a state of mind and emotional state, we're eating the bad food because we earned it, because we deserve it, because it's nice to eat. And so it's like, you're going to eat the food anyway. So you might as well figure out how to eat a little bit of it every single day, which is step number 2, is desensitizing ourselves from these bad foods, from the foods that we crave. This is the hardest part for all of my clients. It's like, we're going to figure out these 3 daily nutritional commitments, 3 things that you're going to commit to every single day that is enjoyable, effective, and effortless to move your body in the direction of your goal, your smoke show dream body. When you desensitize yourself from the food that you crave, that's usually the scariest part, because for the inner child's protective parts, the inner child is the part of you that has the unprocessed pain, the emotions of sadness and disappointment that come from abandonment and rejection from the caregiver. And these are very large umbrella type words. It doesn't mean that you have to have physical separation from a parent. It doesn't mean that they have to emotionally abuse you, of like narcissistic abuse. But what it does mean that when you needed emotional support, they were unavailable to give it to you. And a lot of this is no fault to their own, because life is stressful. And when you yourself have emotionally abandoned someone, and someone comes to you and they're like, hey, that really hurt my feelings, or hey, I really needed you. It's the same thing with our parents. But the emotional effect that happens for the child is that when the child is not feeling that connection, whatever negative emotion that child is feeling, they make it mean, I am bad, I am wrong, I'm not good enough, I'm too much, I should be, I shouldn't be. So the protection mechanism for the inner child to not have that identity, which means separation from our parent, we create mechanisms to perform and to behave so that we can keep that connection intact. So how this shows up with our food is that we have these unprocessed emotions from a very immature brain, a primal brain of survival from that very young age, generally from 0 to 3 years old. And when that primitive brain and emotional state goes through life in a frozen state, it's like a copy of a copy of a copy. It gets worse and worse and worse. So then by the time we're women and we figure out that how we look depends on how much money we make, or what type of a life partner we're going to get, if people are going to be sexually attracted to us, whatever. When we get to that stage as an adult with that primitive mindset, we just attach the performance for the connection onto the diet, onto the food. So then that means that we have control, we have perfectionism, and we have achieving. So then if we tick those boxes, if we hit the macros, if we hit the calories, then that means for the inner child, I feel a sense of connection. And the sense of connection that we're after is the internal connection between our brain and our heart working together, and then subsequently our body reflecting that inner state, and our actions reflecting that inner state, and the experiences that we have with relationships with other people, with other women, with our friends, with our colleagues, with our kids, with our parents, all start to reflect that inner state. So when we are desensitizing ourselves from this, from the food that we put on the bad list, it's really hard, because you're not just up against who you are right now. You are up against the survival mindsets of your inner child, who is doing everything that she can to not feel the pain that put her in that disconnected state to begin with. So this is difficult. This is why we can't just set a goal and achieve it. This is why most people are obese. This is why most people are unhealthy. This is why most people are unfit. This is why most people cannot hang from a bar and do a pull-up. Why most people can't do a squat. Why most people can't do a push-up. Because there is something in between setting the goal of how you want to function and how you want to look to actually getting it. And that is the energetic, emotional space. And that is what is so important. And that is what my zone of genius is. So let's review it. There's two things that you need to do to get smoke show hot and eat whatever the fuck you want. You have to hit 3 targets every single day that are enjoyable, effortless, and effective so that you can move your body in the direction of your goals. You have to desensitize yourself from the bad food so your body stops craving it and you break that emotional tie to the food and to dieting. So when we are desensitizing ourselves from our favorite food, that means that we get to eat the favorite food all the time. We get to eat donuts every week. We get to eat pancakes. Like, I had an actual meltdown and a total spiral and a 10-pound weight gain in a matter of months when someone told me if I stopped eating pancakes for a month, I'd have my 6-pack. I was already dieting down so much. You could see the muscle definition on my stomach. And the feedback was, if you don't eat pancakes for a month, you're going to have your 6-pack. Well, I was already in decision fatigue. I was already exhausted from dieting. So then to hear that my Saturday pancakes, the thing that I looked forward to all week long, was now going to be taken off the shelf, I combusted. I short-circuited. There was like no going back. And it took a long time to figure out how to get the moderation into my life to where you can see my body is where it is now, which honestly, I think my body looks better now than it was when I was dieting that hard before I had my meltdown that caused me to get to this state of mind and emotional state to tell you that there's only 3 things that you need to hit every single day, and you need to eat your favorite foods every single day so that you can stop craving them. Then what ends up happening is you can give 2 shits about your favorite food. There are some times where I eat the chocolate here, not because I actually want it, but because I want to be consistent with desensitizing myself so that I never have a craving to send myself overboard. I made pancakes the other day, and honestly, they weren't even really that great. And I was like, wow, this is so interesting. I had a meltdown over pancakes, and now I really don't care. Interesting. Okay. So these are things that take time to practice because, like I said, you are processing, you are feeling, you are processing, you are validating, you are integrating your inner child feelings, and then you are unpacking the protective mechanisms that the inner child has made to avoid the pain. If you do not unpack your protective mechanisms of perfectionism, control, achievement through dieting, you will not get magnetically hot. The smoke show hot dream body is not about what you look like. It is about the signal that you are emanating and the magnetism of people coming towards you, wanting to be around you. Attraction and sexual energy is not just about sex. It's mostly not about sex. It is about having like this juiciness of really desiring to have something full and extraordinary and creative and expansive. So when you don't take the time to release these protective mechanisms that your inner child has made through dieting, you're not going to be magnetic. Like, there are so many unhappy, isolated people with a 6-pack. There are lots of people in your dream body that you wish you could look like that are miserable and don't have any type of relationship with other people and don't have a relationship to their inner power. It's not about the body. The smoke show hot is like, fuck, yes, I am here and come and get me and let me create what I want. So we have to desensitize ourselves from the food to release these protection mechanisms, and we have to process the feelings that we're putting onto the food. And so those 2 practices are the 2 main practices in the Fat Life. The Fat Life is my coaching container that is either 6 months if you're going to do it in the group, and it's either 12 months if you're going to do it one-on-one. The one-on-one obviously is more extensive because we're getting a little bit more into your charts of your astrology and your human design. And in the group coaching program, you're going to be walking yourself through a lot of this stuff with my guidance, but within a group container. So what happens in the fat life, it's an acronym for 4 things. There are 4 steps to living a life that doesn't revolve around food. Number 1 is the P. It's your physical body. You have to let her eat, for God's sakes. You have to stop dieting for just a couple of months, just 6 months. You have to stop dieting so you can actually start to feel and process these emotions. You have to heal the inner child emotions that are causing you to project these negative feelings onto food that then make you judge yourself based on your good food list and your bad food list. You have to channel all of those protective mechanisms, your achieving parts, your perfectionist parts, your control parts, your tenacity, your grit. This is your boss babe energy. You have to channel all of that achieving energy that is what the inner child has made to protect herself from feeling bad into exercise. Because when you exercise and you channel your achieving parts into your own body, you're containing your energy. When you contain your energy, you are able to process it faster, grow into wisdom, and then hold more expansive energy. So you're doing that with corrective bodybuilding. With the corrective bodybuilding, I make up the program for you. You work structurally so that you're working within the fulcrums of your body so that as you move through life, because you're not just doing this until you achieve your dream body, right? You're going to exercise for the rest of your life. And when you are structurally sound within your joints, when you keep exercising, oh my God, your body's going to look so fucking good forever. Okay, then you have T, and T is trusting the process and trusting yourself. There is so much spiritual, esoteric information out there that we have not been able to readily access until now in this age of information. So we are trusting the process that there's things in your astrological chart, in your soul blueprint that you decided you wanted to experience for the expansion of your soul. To expand your soul, it does not come without strain, stress, and effort. To grow muscle, it does not go without strain, stress, and effort. So the same way that you are working your muscles to make those little micro tears, to work through the burn, to work through the fatigue, to work through the soreness as your body is healing those little micro tears to then grow the muscle that gives it the shape and gives it more strength because it's literally growing with the little gaps that you make in the micro tears when you're exercising. That's how you get the shape. So it's the same thing for your soul. In your astrology, in your human design, we will find the reasons why your power, we will find the reasons why you've had experiences that have been traumatizing, that have caused you to feel bad, wrong, not good enough, too much, I should be, I shouldn't be. So when we trust the process in the fat life, we're actually going to tap into your soul codes so that you can use them as a navigation, as a blueprint to understand some of these inner child and her protective parts that are showing up in your body in either illness, in pain, or chronic conditions, or with your sabotage. So then you can use this energy, transmute it into power, because that's what pain is. Power is the same thing as pain. You just don't know that yet because you haven't worked with me. When we transmute this into power, then all of a sudden your life really starts to change and you're able to withstand, you're able to go through these habits, no problem. So in the fat life, we go over this. I teach you the tangible stuff of figuring out what your 3 non-negotiables are. I teach you how to desensitize yourself from your favorite foods. I teach you how to look at the food as the projections of your inner child's emotions. And I teach you how to look at the dieting as your protective parts. When we do all of that work together, the tangible inner work of the inner child with the food and the dieting, and you're making the food changes, your body's moving in the direction of your dream body, and your energy is coming up to meet the dream body. So you're working both ends of the spectrum, the non-physical body and the physical body, so that you meet your dream body easier, faster, and more sustainably. When you work with me in the fat life, it's either 6 months, and that's $555 a month, or the paid in full is $3,000. If you want to do one-on-one and you want to have my private attention and you want to basically have me in your back pocket through Telegram in addition to your coaching calls, then you're going to do $1,500 a month or $17,000 paid in full. That is the program. That is what's going to get you there as far as the eating is concerned. Obviously, I've got more to tell you about exercise and energy, but for right right now, what I just shared with you, you can run with this. Let me tell you one more time. 3 food or food behavior targets that you're going to hit every single day. They are effortless, effective, and they are enjoyable. You are going to desensitize yourself from the bad food because you know you're going to eat it anyway when you have a craving and you go into a binge. You have to do these 2 things. You have to heal the emotions that you are projecting onto the food, and you have to break down the protective mechanisms that your inner child has created to protect herself from the pain. She looks at you in the mirror and she judges your body and says how ugly you are and how unworthy you are and how nobody's going to want you because of the way you look. That is your inner child projecting her feelings onto the body. And then whatever you decide to do from that primitive mindset, you're like, okay, I'll buckle down even harder. I'll do a challenge. I'm gonna cut out carbs. I'm gonna cut out this. I'm gonna cut out that. And that is just the mindset of the inner child trying to figure out what she needs to do, how she needs to be, how she needs to not be like somebody else to get that sense of connection with her caregiver. So you've got this. You're here because you are a boss babe. Boss babes have tenacity, grit, follow through, achieving parts, perfectionism. We can use all of that and turn it into power instead of a crutch or instead of something that you have to look down at yourself. It's like not toxic masculinity at all. This is your superpower. So you can apply those superpowers in a very strategic way. And then you could like really like sink into your feminine, be super hot and sexy because you're like so in love because you're being your own daddy. Okay, goodbye.